Hello and happy Halloween to those who are celebrating. In my house, there are a few traditional things that I do each year on Halloween. One is, of course, light some incense, and two is listen to the musical War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I love listening to this, and it's just one of those things that is probably the closest thing to a tradition in my house. Years ago, I first heard this on an 8-track. Some of you may actually know what that was. It took me years to find this as a CD, and I very much enjoy listening to it. It's narrated by Richard Burton. There are a number of amazing musicians involved in telling this story through music. The music is incredible, the narration is outstanding, and it very much follows the traditional H.G. Wells story. At some point, I'll talk a bit more about this. I also wanted to mention that for some people today isn't about costumes or parties. For those who refer to this holiday as Samhain, it is a day to remember those who have passed and to remember our ancestors. As always, there is a connection for me to life and books. This particular book, The Healing Power of Trees, Spiritual Journeys Through the Celtic Tree Calendar. This is by Charlene Hidalgo. And I'll go more into that later, but it does tie into today. And each month she has a different tree as well as a variety of information. In her book, today is the day. There is no specific tree for it. It honors all trees. The terms that she has for the holiday are Samhain, Hallowmas, All Hallows Eve, and Halloween. In her book, she goes through the ogham and talks about the symbol and the meanings. She also uses runes, as well as the name of the holidays, if there are any during that particular month. And then she has a summary about the month itself and the trees involved. As I mentioned as well, she talks about today being a time to remember and honor those who have passed, both human and fur, and to make this a day and a commitment to gratitude for all the support that we've received, for all the wonderful things that happen, and for everything that's going right in our life, which can certainly be a challenge when there are so many things happening in the world right now. It can be frustrating and difficult to keep holding and passing on that light. But now more than ever, it is important to keep that focus on moving forward and what's going right. What can we each individually do to make this world a better place? Because we each have a part to play, and there's only so much each of us can do. So maybe we can't fix some of the big things that are happening, but we can certainly take care of what's going on in our immediate area and in our own personal lives. So definitely thinking about gratitude. And yes, that may include all the candies that you get if you're someone out trick-or-treating or taking the little ones out trick-or-treating. The other thing that she includes in this book is a section about totems, guides, and deities. So for each month, she'll have a different mention about that and how it relates to each month. There's a guided meditation that you can do each month. And each chapter section finishes with healings for that particular month or that particular tree. For the day, she has forgiveness is the strongest medicine. Meeting all loss and grief with understanding is powerful and can be life-changing. And as I said, I'll talk more about her book in an upcoming video. I just wanted to share a little of that so people understand why, for me, this is a different type of day. And it's not that I think there's anything wrong with people dressing up or going to parties or taking the little ones out for trick-or-treating. It's just a different type of day for me. So it's one where I'm usually focused on nature and thinking about the year that's passed, the year that's coming. There are certainly some friends that I have lost through this past year, and there were 3 fur babies that we've lost in this past year. In this case, they weren't my fur babies in the house. They were 3 of our feral colony. The first was Sweet Pea, and I made a video for her a few weeks after we'd had to say goodbye last December. So we're coming up to 1 year. That should, and I always get this wrong, I'll put the card up there if you're interested in watching Ferals Not All Wild, and that's a tribute to our beautiful little Sweet Pea, who was a year younger than Panther and was Panther's sister. But no matter how many times we tried, she was interested in the outdoor life. And that's where she chose to stay up until December of last year. We wondered why the one day she came running up to me and she seemed quite panicked and quite upset. And that's when we brought her in, and she thankfully spent her last 4 days in our home. We kept her in a separate room because she was quite sick, and we had taken her to the vet and found out that she had a respiratory infection. A few days later, the blood test came back, and we found out that she also had feline leukemia. She was in a very bad way, but she had 4 days of peaceful sleep, warmth, food, of course, and lots of snuggles and cuddles as we went in to visit with her. And then we were with her when we had to say goodbye. What we found out a while later was that we called him the boy, had passed, and we figure it must have been the night after that she had come running up to me and decided, okay, fine, I'll come live indoors for now. The boy was very sweet. He and Sweet Pea were very close. They lived together for 3 years outside. He wasn't part of the original colony. He had come after the original father had passed away. And as you can see by these photos, they were definitely close together. And one of my special memories from Halloween was this photo where both Sweet Pea and the boy curled up in my lap and had a great visit and sleep for about half an hour. So I certainly miss both of them dearly. Another feral that we lost was Snoop, and she was a sweet little girl who certainly did not have an easy life, but again, unlike Panther, she chose to remain outside, and unfortunately this past summer, she had passed away, so we honored her with a burial. The boy had passed away somewhere else, so I'm hoping that he was honored. So yeah, it was definitely a challenging year in terms of for children, and you're definitely thinking about them as well as many others today of the humankind. Next, I'll have a video about some of the yard work that I enjoyed doing today. It was finally a sunny day here in southwestern Ontario. We've had clouds and rain overnight for it seems like forever some days. It's probably just been a few weeks. but it was a perfect day to get outside and get some yard work done. So I'll share that in my next video where I did some gardening. I collected a whole bunch of moonflower seeds, and I've enjoyed part of the morning watching the birds chomping away on a pokeweed plant that I'd left out front. So it was good to know that the birds have been enjoying that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish everyone a safe and happy Halloween or Samhain, whichever you are celebrating today.